he's really settled in on both ends?
I think the thing for Bateman is he's an everyday guy, so he has tremendous toughness, resiliency, work habits, and those show up for him. And so even though the first, game or couple exhibitions and things don't go exactly how he'd like it to go, he's the first guy in the gym the next day, getting up game speed shots, attacking downhill. When you look at even last game, it's obviously made the 2 threes that were big in the first half, but the 2 downhill drives where he just attacked and drew the defense, ended up and played it with, put back dunks. So he deserves credit for those drives as well. So ultimately, he cares about his team winning first. His personal discipline or individual discipline habits, mindset is tremendous. And because of those things, the reality of the game tends to go his way because his only objective is for the team to win. And so that's, from what I've seen over time, those guys figure that out.
What's it like having a ready-made habits guy like that as a freshman? And how rare is that for a guy to come in, and I'm sure you identified in recruiting this guy's on the ball, right?
Yeah, Bateman is extremely rare in terms of at 18 years old having all those habits. He's had so many great people in his family, coaches he's played for, mentors that he's had that have held him accountable to a standard in everything that he's done. And so the only way he knows to do things is hold himself to a higher standard than what anyone else would hold him to. So to have that all in place when you come in as a freshman is very unique. And we knew as we recruited him that he stood out. He was an outlier. And that's why it made it so imperative that we get him on our team and we prioritized him so much because the things that he's elite at are the things that we value at the highest level.
High school players yesterday on signing day. How excited are you to welcome them to your program?
Yeah, excited. I mean, all 4 guys, bring things to the table that we feel like can have an immediate impact on our program. I think, everybody talks about, transfer portal, and that's, again, something that we'll continue to factor in. Our program is always going to be about development. It's going to be about getting high school guys that we believe in that can contribute right away and continue to get better and have pride in our program. If there's anything those guys should look at is our game the other night when we have 3 freshmen playing meaningful minutes, all impacting winning significantly, right away in their 3rd college game. But for those guys to do that, it's like we just talked about Bateman. It's the work that you do ahead of time, the work you do in preparation. So it's great that we got them, and now it's important that they continue to take advantage of every day to prepare themselves for the opportunity that's coming because, we don't bring guys into this program to say what you might do someday down the road. We're looking for that impact right away.
What does each player bring to your class?
Yeah, I'd say with Wiggins, a guard who can really, shoot the ball, score the ball, make plays. His decision-making, playmaking is vastly improved. He's a multiple position defender, high IQ habits guy. With Yusuf Gray, he's kind of like that pit bull on the ball defender, gets into the paint, gets downhill, slashes. For a guard, is a tremendous rebounder, a guy that does physical things and has a strong will. With Jackson, he's a warrior, extremely physical, hard playing, but yet skilled, can pass, make reads, takes tremendous pride in his team winning and success. And then with Dorian, a guy with defensive versatility and offensive versatility, someone at 6'10" that can make plays and can also be a defensive playmaker. So all 4 guys bring, tremendous value to the table. And I think the challenge now as I communicate with them and our coaching staff does is every day you've got to work and prepare yourself for this opportunity. They all have seasons in front of them, but you've got to take advantage of every single day that you have.
How much of that is something you look for in a high school recruit, or is that something you think you can maybe teach some of those guys along the way?
Yeah, it's absolutely something that you look for because the guys that come in with the habits ingrained, it becomes just about the basketball. The guys that need to develop those habits, we're willing to do that, and we feel like our program, that takes care of itself within our program. It just delays your ability to impact winning. So with Wiggins, obviously he's won a state championship already as a junior. I'm going to set out to do that again this year. a guy that, again, has been held to an extremely high standard with everything that he's done, somebody that holds himself to a higher standard than even what his coaches can, and those guys find a way to carve out a niche, to make things go their way, to impact winning, and got tremendous confidence in Christian's ability to do that.
What makes Blake Buchanan unique from some of the past centers you've had?
Blake is, on the defensive end, he reads plays quickly, very high IQ in reading plays, and he has the reaction time and speed to make the plays defensively. He has ability to switch and go on the guards and defend them. He has tremendous rotational ability. Just his movement, how he navigates things is elite. On the offensive side, he's a very skilled playmaker, a very dynamic passer, decision maker, a guy who can be a lob threat. Guy has the ability to be tremendous offensive rebounder like we saw the other night. So all those things I just mentioned are ways to impact winning. And Blake, the other night, the game that he played was one of the better games we've seen from a five-man in our program since we've been here in terms of all the ways that he impacted winning. And I'd say that, and Blake still has room for growth and development. And when we brought him here, we had tremendous confidence and belief in what he could be. And what we saw the other night was an example of that. Now it's the consistency. That's what it needs to be every single night, because the first few games he was playing with some fouls because he wasn't quite as aggressive defensively. On Monday, he was extremely aggressive defensively, which always put him in the advantage, and then he was aggressive offensively as well. So those things go hand in hand.
What's the value for you guys when Taman can be as aggressive and productive offensively as he was Monday?
Well, we need him to be, and I think when you really look at what he dealt with all year last year in terms of injuries, first and foremost, it prevented him from being able to play that we know that he is. He's a guy that if teams in pick and roll coverage are going to play drop or are going to do something that allows him to get into the paint, we're going to demand that he does the same job he did the other night and be relentless living in that paint and then make the play that comes. And a lot of times it's going to be him scoring the basketball or him getting to the rim or him getting to the foul line. And then when the right play is to pass, to dump it down, to kick it out, he'll do that. So we want Taman to be that level of aggressive every night. He wants that. He works for that. He's earned that. And now that he's totally healthy and can move and make all the plays that he wants to, I think we see how great he really is at that. And so I'm excited for him each opportunity out to keep proving it.
What's the downstream effect? I mean, I imagine like you probably won't see drop immediately because teams now know that he can do that.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's really probably 8 different ways you can play the ball screen, and at the end of the day, you either probably play it more aggressive, more passive, or you switch it. And if you play it more aggressive, we have tremendous confidence in Blake and Joshua's ability if we play them on short rolls and pockets that they can make decisions. If you play it more passive, we have tremendous confidence not only in Taman but also in Nelson and Killian and guys to get downhill. And if you're to switch it, now we feel like we have all the advantages and the offensive rebounding advantage. So, look, no matter what a team throws out there, we work hard every day to prepare for different coverage plans, and we know that teams are going to try to be disruptive, just like what we try to do. So we just got to be ready that whatever's in front of us that night, that we have tremendous focus, intent to attack and give ourselves an advantage.
You talked about this a little bit Monday night. You scored 96 points and make just 5 3-pointers. What does that say about your guys' ability to play efficient offense and not depend on the three-point shot?
Yeah, I mean, I think for all teams, you want to find ways to win when you're not shooting the ball particularly well or didn't have a great shooting night. And to me, that starts with turning people over and scoring in transition first and foremost. It's always going to be transition, attack the paint and the rim. And then certainly running effective offense, continuing to get in the paint is part of that. And then the offensive rebounding is a huge part of it as well. And the last 2 games, as we've done better in that department, you've seen our scoring go up. So, anybody that ever looks at our team and everybody, wants to talk about like, oh, we're a defensive program and that, it's partly because we want to get out and transition on offense and we want to score more the best way to do that is advantage situation, 4-on-2, 5-on-3, 2-on-1, those type of situations. You're at a tremendous advantage. So we want to create that advantage in transition as often as possible. So there's going to be nights that we shoot the ball great, and that's awesome, and we want to be successful on those nights. And we also want to build a winning formula for our team and our program that says, and if we're not shooting well, we still can play great and, you know, be efficient by attacking the paint, foul line, offensive rebounds, scoring at the rim.
Jan said that he felt like your freshmen are ahead of schedule. Have you felt that at any point this season so far?
Well, I mean, whether they're ahead of schedule or they stepped up when we needed them to on Monday, I guess that's up for interpretation. What I'd say is, in terms of all three guys, they do a lot of things to impact winning. Obviously, my confidence in Killian shows by the fact that we start him day one as a freshman is the greatest testament to the trust and belief I have in him. Bateman's continued his climb and ascension, and you know, even in practice, his confidence is taking a big step forward. Again, it's a byproduct of his work. And then with Plata having his best performance in that game is tremendous, because we've been on him about pick and roll defense, offensive rebounding. He was tremendous in both areas. So I wouldn't necessarily even say ahead or behind. We didn't recruit those guys to come in here and play their junior year. We recruited those guys to come in here and help us win their freshman year. And we were fortunate that they all stepped up and did a great job in helping us do that. You know, they both are terrific passers and take tremendous pride in getting an assist. And there's nothing better than those guys taking care of one another and getting each other easy baskets. And so whether it's Joshua in transition and Blake rim running and getting the dunk, whether it's a two-man game that they have and on the empty side and Joshua hits Blake on the pocket and he gets the and one, whether it's we're in our 5-out offense and Blake's able to get Joshua on a quick post-up or a cut, those guys have a lot of confidence in one another, and they work for that every single day. And I give them both a lot of credit because the chemistry and synergy that they're continuing to develop with one another is really, really good.
How much is that something that you guys enjoy being able to execute with every night?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Hopefully it is every night that it goes great for us. Those guys have to be very tough with the basketball, great intent, understanding to the game. But their skill level at their size is terrific, and so that's something that we definitely need to lean into and put the ball in their hands. It gives us the feeling of like we already start with 2 point guards out there. When you feel like you have a third point guard out there, because you can make decisions, you know, out of your front court, even more valuable, even more ability to, you know, to get back cuts and paint points and 45 cuts and interior passes. So pleased with the job they did the other night, but again, we're going to continue to need to do that every single night. We haven't arrived in that category. It's something we've got to have great intent and focus every day.
What were the factors that led to Milan maybe staying a little bit less minutes out there?
I would say that at the end of the half, we went on a 26-6 run. Guys on the court were Heisey, Nelson, Bateman, Taman, and Blake. And so just like we tell our guys every single day, make it go your way, it wasn't anything Milan did or didn't do. It was the fact that those guys were making the game go their way. And so we're going to see night in and night out. It's just like opening night. Nobody made the game go their way more than Milan, right? And so I think when you have 10 guys that you're putting in the game, and we're telling them there's not a natural rotation, it's production driven. Have your night tonight, and we'll continue to give you those opportunities. And I felt like that run at the end of the half was the best 4 minutes of basketball we've seen our team play this season, whether game or exhibition. So I would be a fool not to honor those opportunities again in the second half to the guys that, you know, gave us that great run at the end of the half.
The other way, where you guys are pretty regimented in how you sit within a game to be, I guess, more, I don't know what the right word would be, attuned or trying to play those pieces.
Yeah, I think most coaches would probably say, you know, much easier job on the head coach during the game when you're going to play 8 guys and you play the 8 guys, right? Because it's pretty much who's not tired, you play. Who's not in foul trouble, you play. And when you have 10, you've got to be a lot more in tune to everybody's impact on winning. You've got to be in tune to how they're making their teammates play better, the synergy of a certain lineup, their impact on turning the basketball over, their impact on getting the ball in the paint, scoring it. So all these things factor into it. And ultimately, there's a big part for me where you're watching someone's body language, their energy, their excitement. How excited are they for teammates? Do they have a smile on their face, or they having joy out there playing? Because usually the guys that are having the most fun are the most in the moment. And, you know, as we had that last possession before the half the other night, and you could see Batemon gets a rebound, snaps the outlet to Heisey. Heisey throws the ball to Nelson, and 5 guys on the court all feel, man, like that felt great. We have a smile on our face. We have energy going to the locker room. Like, that's what you want. You want it to look like that. And so for me, I'm looking for the guys that can make it look that way. And it's a huge benefit for us to be able to have 10 guys that we have the trust in to put in and give those opportunities. And we'll continue to tell all of them. It's the guys who start have the ability to have an immediate impact. The guys who come in the bench, off the bench, have the ability to make an immediate impact. And then once everybody's had opportunity, we look and see, you know, who's been the best at, you know, differentiating their group, themselves, impacting winning the most.
Do you have a sense of if at some point that more regimented approach will have to take hold, or whether you can go the 10-man deal approach indefinitely?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're just what we're doing right now has worked well, so we're going to continue to do what we're doing. I think as a coach, you always have to have like the right amount of stubborn of when is this working, when is it time to adjust. We'll factor that in if that, you know, situation presents itself. But right now, it's been a really big positive for us. We've loved how we're doing it. I think it has elevated everybody's level of play in a positive way. So we'll just take it one day at a time and see how it goes.